fail, I always forget something really big anytime I put together a plan for revamping my writing schedule. And this time what I managed to forget was my little sister's wedding. So this week was not the greatest for writing because I had completely forgotten somehow that I would need to spend a week getting ready to travel for my sister's wedding, being in her wedding, helping with alterations for dresses and things, and then I would need time to recover after we got home, and I also had cardiology appointments after we got home. So that was like 2 solid weeks where I really didn't get very much done. I took my iPad with me with a Bluetooth keyboard so that I would be able to do a little bit of writing in the car. And I did that, and I've been trying to do at least 500 words a day since I got back. I've added about 5,000 words to The Artificer's Wife so far, so I am making progress, just not as fast as I thought I would be. I've already adapted my writing plan for this. I've figured out that the book will be ready to go out on September 5th. My editor is already working on the first 25,000 words, so that's all set, that's good to go. So I'm moving forward, even if it's not at the pace I originally wanted. My daughter starts school again in like 2 weeks, so if I can just kind of muscle through doing like between 1,000 and 1,500 words a day for the next 2 weeks, even if I don't do it perfectly, I may miss some of those days. As long as I'm getting a little bit done every day, I'm going to be able to sit down and knock out the rest of the book really fast as soon as she's in school. I think I had it figured out that at the latest I would be getting the book done around August 18th. And by then, my editor will already be done with the first 2/3 of the book, most likely. So the end of August is just going to be me going through and implementing edits. I'm a very structured writer, and the things that I do, because I'm a heavy outliner, you know, and I bounce my outlines off of readers, beta readers, and my editor before I even get started. So I know the structure is already fine, and it's just a matter of, you know, going in and cleaning everything up. I don't need really heavy editing most of the time, so that lets me get through the editing part really fast. So by the end of August, I'll have everything formatted. I'm going to be trying to get the pre-order up soon, but that means I'm going to need to write a blurb. I've tried to continue my studies. I was trying to do a couple of courses, but they weren't really resonating with me. They weren't giving me any useful information, so I've dropped a couple of them, and I don't have my tablet with me right now, so I can't look up which ones they were, but I'll try to make a note of it for the next time, or if nothing else, I'll put a note in the video description about which courses did not work for me. But I've also been reading some books. I got started on Elena Johnson's, Indie Inspirations, I think, series, and I read the one about rapid releasing, and I read the one about the cover copy. They didn't really give me a ton of new information necessarily, but the one about rapid release in particular gave me a lot to think about, and I'm really mulling over how I want to change how I handle my book releases for the next few titles, and also across the next few years. I don't really have a solid plan yet, but I know I'm going to heavily revise my release schedule and figure out a new strategy for how I want to put out the books that I'm currently working on. What I have been doing has not really been working for me very well, and it's not getting the books out with any kind of regularity, and I think that's ultimately going to be detrimental. Even though I have a couple releases a year, they're just kind of like haphazard and not really when people are expecting them. I'm not able to give people a time where they can definitely expect this is when the book is going to be out. I have a few ideas, I just need to bounce it off some of my crew, the posse, and then I'll go from there. So my goals for this next week, it's going to be the last week of July. I am going to sit down with a calendar and I'm going to draw out a really solid idea for how I want releases to go so that I can start structuring my writing plans around what's going to give me that kind of release schedule. I'm going to try to get somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 words added to The Artificer's Wife. And I'm also going to be figuring out a strategy for how to bring in a series that has been published wide and putting it into Kindle Unlimited. I have this trilogy, West King's Heist. The first 2 books are novellas and the third one is a novel. There just aren't a lot of ways to promote novellas. So the best way to promote the books are to promote the whole box set. And I don't think the illustrated cover is working. I have a lot of people say they really like seeing the illustrations of the characters, but it doesn't move books. So I'm going to be making a new box set cover. I'm going to need to figure out a new lead magnet for my newsletter because right now the first West King's Heist novella is my lead magnet to get people to subscribe to my author newsletter. And I'm going to need to start working on pulling that book out from all the wide distributors and getting it ready to go into Kindle Unlimited. One of the reasons I decided that would be a good thing to do is because even though it's been out wide, the majority of sales that I get on that series are still on Amazon, and all of my other fantasy books are in Kindle Unlimited. So I'm not being able to catch the Kindle Unlimited fantasy readers that are finding my other works, and nothing is funneling them into that series because it's not in KU. And then the very few readers that I have picked up wide with the West King's Heist series, they can't read my other fantasy books because they are also in Kindle Unlimited. I don't really have time to discuss right now why my other books are in Kindle Unlimited, but it has been what has worked best for me as a fantasy author so far. My older paranormal titles are available wide, and those are things that I do see a little bit of movement wide even though I don't really promote them, and they never sold very well on Amazon, weirdly enough. So those are going to be staying put, and I'm just going to be recovering the box set for West King's Heist because people really like the individual novella covers. I just can't advertise the individual novellas very well. So even though I have been taking courses and reading books, this first action step is really the first thing that I'll have done that's going to change the trajectory of what I am doing as an author. I've talked a lot about the things that I'm doing to rebuild, the things where I'm doing, like laying down the foundation, but making the move to recover a book and basically relaunch it into Kindle Unlimited feels very different. And it's the very first actionable step that I am taking to try to see some kind of change in momentum. So this is week 1 of restarting my author career. And I'm looking forward to checking in after it's done to see what kind of difference it's going to make. It's exciting. It's also a little bit scary because I don't know what to expect. I don't know if my advertising efforts are going to be throwing good money after bad, but if something has to change, we're just gonna have to jump in and go. I'll probably give cursory updates for how the writing is going, but there's not really a lot that I can share for the drafting process, so my next update will probably be more focused on what I am doing preparing to relaunch West King's Heist, like as the box set, and I guess we'll just see where it goes from there. But yeah, action steps for week 1 are going to be making a new cover for the West King's Heist trilogy box set, preparing to pull West King's Heist from being wide, and writing new cover copy for the box set to hopefully help it gain some traction. I'll also be trying to add 5,000 to 7,000 words to my current work in progress, and I will have a little update on how that's going. I'm going to do my best to make progress on at least 1 publishing course, and I'm going to read at least 1 publishing book. And I will report back on whatever I pick and what I get out of those books, whether they end up being helpful or not, after I have a chance to go through them. So yeah, short update this time, but I don't have any family weddings on the horizon until October, so I can focus a little bit better for now without forgetting something big. So take care, and I'll see you in my next check-in.